So, it's the third week that you're entering into for your 1 month retreat. Very extraordinary. I mean, you can complete the retreat in about 2 weeks or 2 weeks and some days if you wish. But anyway, you made a commitment for a month. So my thoughts were this: that it's important to let's say appreciate what we've been doing with ourselves. We are in the Bodhisattva path. We're working for the benefit of all sentient beings. The Yamantaka retreat is to accomplish certain capacities to be of more benefit with sentient beings. And so it's a development of wisdom, but our wisdom is weak. And how is it weak? Well, we're being affected for many, many rebirths, on this rebirth, with, for example, low self-esteem, being criticized, we're not good enough, maybe we're physically not, we're fat, we're skinny, we're tall, we're short, or something, or so sort of all of these things, and they weigh upon us and sort of weigh us down. And so when you do a Yamantaka retreat, you generate yourself in a very fierce form, but it's to burn all of those things that you carry within yourself, your low self-esteem or incapacity or whatever, or just your inability to make good decisions. And so it's very clear that the anger of Yamantaka, as my teacher Geshe Nawandarge always said, is aimed at our own mind, our own stupid mind, which makes all the bad decisions. So Yamantaka's anger is based at that. And so we should feel when we generate ourselves as Yamantaka, we're very fierce, we're very intense, we have lots of power and ability. We have the 34 arms, which have many capacities. We have the 9 faces, particularly the primary face of Yamantaka, very fierce. And of course, then we have the 16 legs, which is the voidness, meaning as we stand on a very solid foundation of, the 16 legs, which is that we understand reality very well. Now, granted, we might not have the best realizations at this point, but we certainly are working towards that. That's why we're doing the retreat. Now, you're entering into the third week of the retreat, so it's quite possible some of you had some quite interesting experiences and such. The negative side would become you could become too intoxicated with being Yamantaka, and which in one way isn't bad, but it's not the best. And that would be where you feel very sort of aggressive and angry and such. Which, as I say, in burning all of the encumbrances which hold us down, isn't that bad. But if you think of the great teachers, whether it's His Holiness the Dalai Lama or, for example, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, incredible Lama, so big and so powerful, and yet he's just full of compassion. Yet he did very wrathful retreats. So you have to remember that the objective is that you become a beautiful, peaceful, wonderful, compassionate person, but you've burned all of your the encumbrances which held you back. And that was why you do a wrathful retreat initially. First Yamantaka, later you could move to Heruka Vajrayogini or Guhya Samaja or any other deity you wish, even Tara and Avalokiteshvara. But the point is, first it's to remove interferences. So when you do the retreat, can be that you have some interesting experiences of consciousness, where, anyway, just each one's individual, everyone will have their own experiences. But then even if they are rather intoxicating for you, always try to come back and say, remember, well, obviously I had a lot of delusion. That's why this came up. So please, Yamantaka, help me go through this. Now, you've been doing the long sadhana every day. Some of you may have completed the mantra commitments of the 10,000, 10,000, 100,000, 10,000, 10,000. Okay, which is just fine. But that doesn't mean that then, because you have a 1 month retreat, that you then stop doing the sadhana. No, you have to continue to do the sadhana every day for at least one complete sadhana every day, and then until you do the fire ritual. Now, because you're in a retreat and you have, I believe, 5 sessions every day, each one at least an hour and a half long, please continue to do 5 sessions, and please continue to do the recitations. Why? Because it's an exercise of consciousness. We are very external, and this is, you could say, truly, it's an exercise of your consciousness, the visualizations, the sending of light rays, the absorbing of light rays. For example, when you send out the offering goddesses from your heart, you actually visualize them coming out of your heart and then absorbing back in your heart. That's opening your heart chakra. So the visualizations have a relevance to your physical body and such. But main thing is, this is the gymnasium for your mind as a bodhisattva. you are gaining power and capacity and ability to be able to benefit sentient beings. Okay, so that's the one thing is that please continue to do the sadhana up until finally you guys do the fire ritual. The second thing is that then in these next sessions, once you've completed the mantras, and if you're taking 3 weeks or more to do the mantras, that's fine. There's no like, oh, you should do the mantras in this amount of time. You should do the mantras well and with some appreciation of I'm sending out little Yamantakas to work for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's really important. But if you were to complete the mantra count, then what I'd like you to do is to focus on a few different things. One is, although Yamantaka is very fierce, you came from Dharmakaya. So what you have to think of is, okay, I'm going to just go to Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is my soul. It's my most profound nature. It's my most subtle mind. It's goodness. Okay, I mean, although one way, philosophically, they say Dharmakaya is neutral, it is actually goodness. It is beneficial. It is clarity. It's understanding reality. So in that, you can just be a state of consciousness, which is goodness. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. There's no form. It's just, I am existing in a pure feeling of love and compassion for everybody. That's the feeling. And it's blissful. It's your soul. It's your Buddha nature, however you want to phrase it. So rest in that. Then as you allow your consciousness to sort of expand out, of course, well, we come into a very complicated world right now. I mean, right now we have the war in Israel, we have the war in Ukraine, we have people doing violence in different places. I mean, horrible things. There's horrible people out there. I mean, people looking for happiness in all the wrong ways with violence and corruption and whatever else. They're actually looking for happiness, but very unskillfully. So as you come out, well, then this very pure feeling you've had as being, bodhicitta, Dharmakaya, well, it has to be strong. And that's where then you become Yamantaka. 34 arms, 16 legs, 9 faces. You're very fierce. You're very capable. So that's the context that you should try to have when you're doing your meditations. Okay, so in your remaining sessions of this retreat, you basically say, okay, I'm coming from a place of beauty and love, and may all sentient beings have happiness and cause of happiness. But when I arrive in this world with many complications, I am Yamantaka to give me stability. So you hold that, okay? And then you can have all the fierceness and things. But the real depth of Yamantaka is death. That if you, let's say, personally, if you've been diagnosed with cancer and suddenly you say, oh my God, I'm going to die, all the trivialities of your life disappear. Or, for example, if someone that's dear to you dies, yes, that's painful and maybe you're very sad. But what's the most interesting thing is it's like a week or 2 weeks later, you suddenly think, oh, I want to phone that person. And then there's this big void. They're not there anymore. They're dead. And that's it's a primal state of consciousness that sort of touches the reality of impermanence. And that gives you a huge amount of stability. When we talk about dealing with harsh situations, and the anger of Yamantaka isn't at anybody. It's in our own stupid mind. And the thing is that it actually is a primordial state of consciousness, a very deep state of consciousness, which understands life is impermanent. Work in a constructive way with ourselves. Don't do stupid things. Don't create negative karma and stuff like that. So you were able to stay in this state of primordial, well, let's say immutable consciousness. That's the real realization of Yamantaka, immutable consciousness. And in whatever situation you're in, whether it's with family or friends or some situation in the public, if you needed to, you find you can't do anything because it's just the situation is way too intense, you go to your primordial state of consciousness, which is the doorway to that is Yamantaka, which is death, the appreciation of death in our lives, impermanence in our life. And you're able to maintain your stability there because you don't react in an inappropriate manner. That's the real Yamantaka, that wisdom. Okay, now you go in and out of that one, go back to your very pure, may everybody have happiness and cause of happiness, and then manifest out to Yamantaka. And then in the state of Yamantaka, maybe bring to mind a very suffering situation, for example, Israel or whatever. And then just sort of say, okay, this is the manifestation of a lot of karma of people looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. I am immutable. I have the contention to be a benefit, but I need to be very stable. So that's one thing. Second thing is, as you continue to meditate, okay, you're for the benefit of both yourself and other sentient beings. So with that state of consciousness, with that understanding of being a benefit for all sentient beings, then you have the graduated path. Now, the graduated path isn't some religious dogma. It's a personal development. You could say a personal creativity. So, for example, precious human rebirth, although there's various ways of thinking about it, bottom line is it's having a sense of potentiality, self-esteem. I have the potentiality. I got a good rebirth. I've met the teachings of the Buddha Dharma. I actually met Tantra even better than that. You know, I have this profound technique that I can rely on to become a more enlightened individual. Wow, I'm so lucky. So you can, like, as Yamantaka, you can meditate that for yourself, but you can also feel that's for other people, that may everybody have self-esteem. Okay, and then you move to say things are impermanent. Well, your possessions, your relationships, and even your own body is impermanent. So where is value in that? Well, in with my possessions, may I do constructive things. In my relationships, may I offer wisdom, compassion, patience, peace, love. It's what I'm offering. It's not what I'm getting from my relationships. And finally, with my body, well, may I use it in a good way? That at the end of my life, I can say, hey, body, you did a good job. Thank you for supporting me. So that's, again, you can meditate on that as being Yamantaka, because that's a technique that Yamantaka offers to you to benefit yourself, but also to benefit other people. And then there's, of course, refuge. Refuge really is inspiration. I'm inspired by Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I'm inspired by the great yogis, whether it's Nagarjuna or any of the great masters. I mean, Padmasambhava, Milarepa. They're all a source of inspiration. And then the teachings are what we really rely on. That's our real refuge. And then our friends that help us on the path, Sangha. Then there's karma. Okay, so in your aspect of being Yamantaka, okay, karma is being careful about how you're creating yourself. You know, subjectively, how am I motivated? Objectively, who's the object? How am I interacting? But if you think about karma, then you should bring to mind bodhicitta. Your aspect of Yamantaka is an aspect of bodhicitta for the benefit of all sentient beings. So therefore, in the aspect of being Yamantaka, then it's not just about me. I am interdependent with the universe around me. We are all interdependent. That means all open to being influenced. I am Yamantaka. I am bodhicitta. May I be of benefit. So every aspect of your body, the arms, the legs, everything is a benefit for others. That's not quite right. It's a feeling of I benefit. Okay, and it's a benefit universal. All sentient beings, even the very horrible people that do horrible things like in war, even for them, may I be of some form of benefit that's appropriate to them. That's karma. Okay, so it's bodhicitta. Good to think about bodhicitta with karma, accumulation of karma with the attitude of bodhicitta, and in the aspect of Yamantaka. And there's, of course, how to deal with delusions. That's Yamantaka. It's 16 legs of voidness, or the understanding of the nature of phenomena and the understanding of the sense of self. Then there's bodhicitta, then there's the 6 perfections. So you can go through those. And as much as you realize those, your Yamantaka has context. It's not just a big fierce form. It is a process of evolution, of creativity with self and with others. And if you think about it, I mean, you know, as a Yamantaka, you're not evangelizing. Okay, sure, you have 9 faces and you can roar the Dharma, but the thing is, sentient beings won't like that. How do you benefit sentient beings? You benefit them skillfully and subtly. It's not like, you know, a Buddha comes along and benefits you and then stamps on your forehead, helped by this Buddha, or gives you a little business card and says, oh, Buddha Amitabha helped you. No, they're so subtle. They have no reason to manifest. Their nature is just love and compassion and wisdom. So if there's the benefit, sentient being to benefit it, they don't take away that sentient being's ability to benefit themselves. They help the sentient being become enlightened, but they don't then put some sort of thing saying, I helped you. If the sentient being becomes wise enough, they might realize they've been helped by a Buddha, but it is self-development. So in your practice of Yamantaka, as you develop and as the years go by, you benefit people, but you don't put a stamp of like, I so-and-so benefited you. Just the nature of you is a benefit, helping people have self-esteem, have self-confidence in themselves, being inspired, having an appreciation of Where's what's beneficial in my life and what's not so beneficial, where I should put a focus, how to deal with my delusions. That's what Yamantaka really is. So anyway, you have 2 more weeks of retreat. So therefore you have these things to think over. So don't think that, oh, I finished the mantra count. Oh, I'm now liberated. I can do whatever I want. That's a big waste of time. Your whole Dharma practice is your whole life. So basically now continue. Okay, you can meditate on going to your Buddha nature, but make it beautiful. Make it this is a state which doesn't have any preconceptions of bias or judgment or something. It's just all sentient beings of happiness. I mean, you talk about God. God is love. Okay, well, same thing as your Buddha nature. It's our ultimate nature. They all said you mean do all that. Then, as you manifest, of course, the world is complicated. You can become Yamantaka. In this case, for this retreat, okay, you could become Tara. You could become Avalokiteshvara. You could become all sorts of deities. But in this case, we're Yamantaka. And Yamantaka is the appreciation of death. Yamantaka is the destroyer of a mundane death with delusions. And in my daily activity, I'm incorporating impermanence into my life. Okay, so you can do that. That's one. And then the second thing would be then go through the graduated path, but do it in the terms of it is personal creativity. I have self-esteem. I know where to put emphasis in my life. I'm inspired. I'm appreciating how to accumulate karma in the best way, beneficial for myself, beneficial for others. And I'm working with my delusions well. And I have bodhicitta in my heart, and I have the six perfections. And the most incredible thing is I have Tantra. I mean, Tantra is such an incredible practice. It's not just sort of superficial. It's not just silly imaginations. It's really working coming out of your Dharmakaya, your real nature, the most subtle, profound nature of your consciousness, and then manifesting not as a mundane individual with all your mundane habituations, but rather manifesting as Sambhogakaya, pure astral body, and then Nirmanakaya. So you completely change your karma. Okay, so that's you're in your third week. Those are my suggestions that I would like you to think about. Okay, you can carry on. Very good. Bye.